Mavele from programtom.com/dev here, and in this episode I'm gonna point out some list of services that could be run independently, but in majority of cases they are not. And also I think relying on such self-hosted solutions is a path to failure in the software development industry. Basically, companies search for cloud solutions to scalability, to visibility, um, to tools that are used by a lot of people. So there will be no buzz factor. Only few people to know how the software works and what and where. And so yeah, there is a saying, when I wrote this code, only God and I knew how this works, and after some vacation, only God knows how the code works. So basically, uh, here is a list of services that could be run independently, but they are not. First is file storage. Basically, maintaining your own file storage, you need to have a copy. You need to make scheduled, probably everyday backups of your files. So if there is some viruses, you could restore your data, and if some storage fails, you could replace the hard and just clone from the copy and have it all restored. Basically, I've had an issue in the past where 2 copies of my data had a power failure in my home, and 2 hards were damaged. So I used a hard analyzing software to get some small parts of data, but it was painful. So in contrast, the cloud services allow scalability, backup, cost effectiveness for smaller amounts of information. But if you have a lot of information, the costs may increase, and it will be a little bit costly. And there are also end user services like Dropbox, Google Drive, iCloud. But with all of these cloud services, you will strike out the privacy, letting these companies manage your data. Even if encrypted, they have a lot of resources that they could use to decrypt your data if you have used weak cryptography. So basically, privacy is not good if you're using cloud storages. Version control. So Git is a peer-to-peer technology. You could set up a small Linux server with on some old hardware and run a Git server. Have a server repository, and you could clone your code on multiple devices. Basically, after you clone the code, you have the Git history on every device independent from the others. And this is basically for bigger teams, some cloud solutions are preferred, like GitHub, GitLab, and the Microsoft equivalent of their own. Yeah, Microsoft spent some money for GitHub, so now if you push some code on GitHub, you give it to Microsoft, basically. And these cloud platforms offer better collaboration and code reviews, and they also have integrated CI/CD actions. So you could set up your own Jenkins. It's open source software, and you could set up tasks that are uh, executed and built one after another. So after successful build of one, you could start another. You could set up mail messages if for the completion of your jobs. But basically, companies prefer uh, to not host these solutions and rely on GitHub, GitLab, and so on. Local Docker versus Kubernetes. Basically, what you need to get using Docker on your own machine is Dockerfile that will build your Docker image and Docker or Docker Compose, and basically you could set up databases, messaging queues, and whatever you need, and bind it with your own microservices and wire the settings up and connect your microservices. But it is harder to scale your setup as it depends on hardware, and this is where cloud solutions shine. They could scale up your according to your needs, and it is lifted from you to keep up the electricity, and they take special care with power failures and having UPS systems and so on. So this is why companies prefer cloud solutions. Another point is, do you rely on internal tools or some open source projects? Well, internal tools may have limited functionality and all need to be developed, and it requires time. Internal tools are known only to those who code them, but they are very custom. They could be very custom and fit perfectly to the need of whatever the task is required. And there is an alternative solution to use open source projects that give you what you need, and you just need some setting up and wiring the different components. And but there is a drawback, that they evolve constantly, and you will need endless learning, especially for development. Like I've experienced, Android native development has gone through so many changes that it is endlessly time consuming and focusing on the how to build an apps, some Android apps, but not what to build. Yeah, basically, as a software engineer, if you code Android, you'll be more focused on how and not on what. And this is not productive. This is a path to failure. And next is the crypto. I wonder how much of the Bitcoiners actually still run their own Bitcoin nodes. And the last time I checked, it was above 500 gigabytes, the full blockchain, and it needed some time, some hours to sync. And basically, I've tried to code some Web3 applications, and all the tutorials about whitening network or using some Ethereum smart contracts. Almost all of the tutorials give you some instructions how to use some external service and not run the blockchain yourself. Basically, wasn't that the point of Bitcoin and all the blockchains, to be independent from all the other internet and to rely on you only to yourself, to have self custody and all of that? Basically, let's assume that not running your crypto node is okay, as there is a hashing the Merkle tree that enough big corporations run it. But what about the wallet? Basically, there are tons of cryptos that are centralized on exchanges, and this invalidates the whole idea of the Bitcoin and the blockchain. And some of these aspects I have written in the Bitcoin philosophy booklet I have written some time ago. And yeah, this something ambiguous and something strange, that the whole idea of this project was independency, but it is now so centralized. So the same idea is basically the same problem arises in open source language models versus language that are executed on the big platforms. Developing and running open source language models requires very strong hardware. Like, I have some NVIDIA video card on my device, but even with it, some of the language models take up to a minute to produce a single artifact, and it is not good, not performant, and yeah, I think Musk spent some millions so he could own the latest developments from NVIDIA and to teach his Grok AI. So basically, you need very good hardware to run your open source language models, and it will uh, need such hardware even for running it, not just for teaching it. But I have some there are some open source models that you could run, but basically the industry promotes cloud provided REST APIs, basically with the Chrome extensions, with the um, code plugins, code writing plugins. Most of them rely on Cloudy or on some other cloud provided AI language models. And of course, this independence go beyond the mere digital world. Basically, if you have some solar panels or some other types of electricity producing hardware, you will be independent from the network and you will have low monthly expenses. But all of this require from you a great initial investment and also hardware skills, how to monitor it and having it up to date and up and not broken. So basically, it is you need hardware engineering skills, not just software. And beyond that, how do you work? Do you have your own company or you work as consultant? Basically, this is another point. If you have a business or you're just doing some job to get some money to feed yourself and to live as this way endlessly. If you own your legal entity that generates some income. Most of the income may be directed to you directly or in the way that you negotiate internally. But you you take disadvantage of having to handle accounting, legal issues, regulations, and so on. Working as a consultant may decrease this stress and the need to mm, fill up all the non-business, non-work related stuff. But you you are limited to the amount of money you could get. Basically, you will need to make your clients money more than what you get, so it will be even viable for the other part to give you the fees you want. Basically, as a consultant, you must make the other people, the other person, the other side more money than you get, so it will be feasible to do so. And basically, I've seen from my perspective as software engineer, services like Firebase and Amazon Clouds for Java development and uh, ChatGPTs that are run by the big providers. All of such services that are external to you are promoted, and basically I've developed several tools over the years, uh, file syncing applications, note syncing applications between your Android devices and desktop, and I'm running some small open source language models, and I've tried in the past running my own book, running the blockchains myself, and it takes time, it takes effort, and it is not good for business basically, and it is a path to failure, relying too much on your own, and this is paradoxical item of the software industry. So go to the clouds and you have more chance of getting successful.